Hey, what's happening? I'm Gary Semics. I got the fever for motocross when I was a kid. It was love at first sight, and I've been running a high temperature on it ever since. If you're a competitive motocross racer, you know just what I'm talking about. Sure, it's a different world today from when I started racing, but it's still a race from the starting gate to the checkered flag. In that respect, it wasn't much different for me back then as it is for kids today. I was like any racer. We all want to improve speed, control, and race results. I thought it all hinged on twisting the throttle and trying your hardest. I didn't know about weekly preparation that needs to be applied. When we see the top pro motocross racers and supercross guys on TV, we are amazed at how fast and consistent they are for the entire race. They're as fast at the end of the race as they were at the beginning, and they make it look easy. But getting to that level wasn't easy, and maintaining it isn't easy either. They have put days, weeks, months, and years of preparation in the books. This is where my online training can help you to prepare each week, to bring out the best in you, and to race at your highest potential every time you race. Weekly preparation, what I call weekly routines, are what develops a motocross racer's speed, control, and consistency. But, you know, a weekly routine doesn't just manage practice on the bike. There are 7 main categories that go into a motocross racer's weekly routine. They are practice on the bike, cardio training, strength training, flexibility, diet and nutrition, recovery, and maintaining a positive mental attitude. Each of these 7 training categories needs to have a strong foundation to build from. For example, let's take the first one, a practice on the bike. You need to master all 55 absolute techniques of motocross. Then you could keep building from that foundation and keep improving your speed and consistency. If this first step would be skipped, you would be limited on how fast you could become. I mean, think about it. Would you want to go to, say, oral surgeon to have your wisdom teeth removed, who hasn't learned, practiced, and perfected all the basic techniques of removing teeth? And you could be like sitting in his chair with a bib on when you hear him say to his assistant, "Hey, you may need to help me a little on. I'm actually removing those 2 embedded teeth. I'm not very good at that part." I mean, that would be like you at a race saying, "Oh man, this track is super rutted. I suck at ruts." First, a good solid foundation has to be in place. Then each one of these training categories work together, and you don't want to leave any links out of this important chain. Many amateur racers may think, well, I don't really need to be in excellent shape yet. My races are only 4 laps. They think, I'll start training hard a month or so before going to the amateur nationals at Loretta's, where I'll have to race 3 20-minute motos per class in the heat. Problem with that is, too little, too late. You should be in excellent shape now in order to be able to practice on the bike longer and better in order to keep improving your riding skills. Think about it. If you're stronger, have more endurance, core strength, and flexibility, how much better would you be able to practice and race now and keep building from those higher skill levels? A motocross racer's career is short. Your window of opportunity to land a good major sponsor is even shorter. It's never too early to start working smart and hard, but it can be too late. There's been thousands of racers who have gone before you. Many you have never heard of because they didn't want it bad enough, got sidetracked, or didn't know how to prepare properly. In part, this is because motocross and supercross are unique sports. Other training methods and strategies from other sports like football, basketball, boxing, cycling, or running don't apply to motocross. For example, there has been many programs regarding strength training, but if you were to use these programs, you would get arm pump, as well as shoulder, chest, back, and leg pump. One unique thing about our sport is that it takes a great deal of cardiovascular conditioning. But unlike cycling or running, it also takes a lot of strength, making it both an aerobic and anaerobic sport. Also in our sport, things happen very quickly, so the eye-to-brain perception, along with feeling what is happening, to body reaction and movements are primary keys. And this all has to happen automatically. This eye-to-feeling perception, along with body reaction and movements, has to be programmed with the 55 absolute techniques of motocross, which make the rider and motorcycle become one. Once this foundation is reached and you can ride fast and smooth, your physical fitness plays a major role. During a race, your average heart rate will be just below your lactic threshold and will max out at times. Well, you only have so much time and energy to spend each day. You need to be very efficient with your weekly training in order to race at your highest potential. Through my 12 years as a factory racer, I became very interested in weekly preparation training. By the time I was 30 and reaching the end of my career, at a top level anyway, I was getting things pretty well figured out. That's when I started doing motocross schools and racing the local scene in Southern California. I kept doing schools and racing pretty much every weekend for the next 13 years. Then I backed off on the racing, but I kept doing schools and riding a lot for the next 16 years until around 2015. Now at 62, I still ride a little, but still train 6 days a week. Why, you may ask, especially at my age? I still like it, especially the way it makes me feel. And I stayed interested in it and kept learning more and more about how different training programs affected practice and racing. I've learned that the human mind and body are amazing. When they have the correct amounts and types of training applied, have time to recover, then the training loads are applied again. They can adapt, becoming better and stronger. The frequency, duration, and intensity of fitness training and practice on the bike has to be well controlled, giving the mind and body the correct sport-specific training that will trigger an adaptation response to keep improving. Too much, too often, and you would be overtrained, causing all kinds of problems. Too little and not often enough will not trigger a strong adaptation response, also yielding poor results. I'm happy I chose to stay in the motocross industry as a coach and trainer. By the time I retired in '85, I knew I had already learned so much about how to become a better motocross racer. I knew I could help up-and-coming racers to avoid the mistakes I had made, to do things right, and to bring out the best in them. When I started training McGrath in '87, I had some great methods and strategies figured out. I've been building and improving on them ever since. Now, from racing, doing motocross schools, and coaching riders for over 40 years, I have developed time-tested and proven preparation programs to maximize results. The main reasons I started doing my coaching online is because it's more convenient and less expensive for the riders. They don't have to find a motocross coach in their area, if there are any, pay a lot of money, and then work around the trainer's schedule. I've designed my online coaching to be very effective, convenient, and inexpensive. If you're serious about improving your riding skills, fitness, and race results, join my online coach members today, or email, text, or call. Or if you feel eligible for a sponsorship, send your resumes to semicsmotos@gmail.com. I promise you will learn what it takes to be at your best every time you race.